and welcome back. Today I'll be showing you the magic of mid-side recording, so let's get into it. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would really help support the channel. So mid-side is probably one of the most unique recording techniques, but it's also one of the most underutilized, mostly because you need two different types of microphones, and one of them, generally speaking, isn't really budget-friendly. So in order to do mid-side recording, you need one type of microphone, which is just basically a cardioid microphone, and then you need another type of microphone that is capable of doing what's called a figure-of-8 pattern, meaning that the microphone captures sound on both the front and the back simultaneously. Generally speaking, the microphones that are capable of doing this are usually ribbon microphones, or in my case, what I'll be using today is my Lewitt Audio 441 Flex, which is just a large diaphragm condenser that happens to have a mode where you can record in a figure-of-8 pattern. So the reason that it's called mid-side is that you're capturing the mids and the side channels independently. So unlike a stereo pair where the mid channel and the sides are basically one and the same because you just have two microphones, one for the left, one for the right, and the mid is just kind of somewhere in between, with mid-side you actually have one microphone that's pointed directly at the guitar, and then your figure-of-8 microphone is turned sideways. So basically you have one mic going straight ahead, and then one mic that's basically capturing the sides or basically recording sideways like that. And then in post, inside the DAW, you basically have to do kind of a mid-side decoding thing, which sounds way more complicated than it is. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. The mid-side recording technique is really unique in the fact that it's entirely mono-compatible. In order to get the left and the right channel out of just one microphone, you basically have to take one source, double it, and then phase invert it, and then pan it hard left and right. And I know it sounds complicated, but I promise you, I'll break it down in a little bit. But when you play it back on a mono source, they collapse. So when you listen to this on a cell phone or just a single speaker, you're only going to hear the direct mid mic, not the side mics. Which sounds like it might be kind of bad, but if you think about it, if you mic something with a stereo pair, there's generally going to be some phase cancellation just between the two microphones, even if they're kind of close. And sometimes that can be unfavorable. To me, it's really never bothered me, but if mono compatibility is a really big thing for you, go ahead and try mid-side. I personally like mid-side just for the fact that it captures the ambience in a really unique way, and it allows you to control the stereo width independently of the middle. So really you always have the mid channel, but you can just choose how wide you want the sides to go. Now I will say the only drawback to using a mid-side technique, outside of the cost of purchasing extra microphones, which might be a little more expensive, is that if you don't record in like the most optimal space, it tends to be a little bit more ambient than other miking techniques. If you do a short stereo pair inside of a home studio, it generally sounds pretty good, which is why most of the, the mic techniques on this channel are kind of geared towards home studios. So I tend to focus on those, not so much, mid-side, but it does sound really, really good. And again, the fact that you can control the stereo width independently of the mid channel is kind of a big bonus. So let's jump into the DAW and I'll show you how to actually set up the session. All right, so this is how you set up your mid-side recording in your DAW. You want to create two tracks, one for your mid channel and then one for your side channel. The mid channel is whatever mic is pointed directly at your guitar, and the side channel is whatever you're using for your figure-of-8 microphone. And this has the information for both the left and the right channels. Now it's a little bit confusing because you only have two channels in the DAW, but eventually you're going to end up with three, this being both the left and the right. Now the trick to this is very simple. You just want to take your side track and duplicate it exactly as is. Now right now the tracks are identical. If I played these, it would sound exactly the same. You wouldn't have a left or a right. It would just be the same thing over again. The trick to this is to exactly flip the phase. So essentially, if you looked at the waveform, one would be going up and then the other one would be going down. And the way you do this in PreSonus, it's a little different depending on your DAW, but you basically open the mix tool down here and you invert the phase by clicking this little button. Now other DAWs might have this attached to here. I know PreSonus has something I can enable to do this, but for the sake of the tutorial, I wanted to have a separate plugin. And you invert the phase. Now what's interesting about this is that when you invert the phase, it cancels out the other channel exactly. So if I muted the mid channel and I played the audio, you can see the cursor moving, but you don't hear anything. In order for you to hear something, I have to pan them hard left and right. So I'm going to take this one, pan it hard left, and I'm going to take the other one and pan it hard right. And now what you'll notice is you'll actually be able to hear them. And now if I click this, basically sums it to mono, so it's in stereo now. When I click it, it goes away completely because they're canceling each other out. So that's kind of the beauty of this, is that it's mono compatible. When you listen to this on a cell phone or something like that, you won't hear these at all. It basically gets summed to just the mid mic, which is kind of nice because you don't have any phase cancellation, at least between the frequencies in the mid mic. You just have the direct sound. But when you listen to this in stereo, you get the benefit of having both of these together. Now what's interesting, and what's really, like I said, the benefit of having mid-side, is that you can actually control the level of the sides. So if I have my mid mic here, which if I just solo it, sounds something like this. And then when I bring in the sides, and again, this is with no reverb or anything, just so you can really hear the differences. And you can notice when I bring it out of solo, you can hear the sides, and it just kind of widens the image. And this mic technique is great if you're recording in something like a concert hall or something that has a lot of reverb. So when I add my reverb back in, you really do get a really nice stereo image. Now just the mid mic. Now I'll do just the sides by themselves. And what's really great is that you can actually play it, and then I'll slowly kind of fade the sides in and out so you can kind of adjust to taste how much you want. I'm kind of fine with this. I might even bring them down a little bit more. I'm just trying to demonstrate what it sounds like. If you get it too much, it tends to sound overly wide, and kind of the guitar sounds more diffused, if that makes any sense. It just doesn't sound quite as direct. Like, I really like the sense of space, but I don't want the guitar sound to just kind of smear between the speakers or the headphones. So I'll play it again and just kind of go overboard so you can hear what I mean. And again, it's subtle, but when I go back to mono, it's extremely subtle, but it's that subtlety that basically gives you that really nice kind of mid-side sound that you're going for. That's my time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, or topics you want me to cover in future videos like this one, please leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys in the next video.